What is going on, everyone? I'm here to talk about Icarus today, a survival crafting game made by Rocketworks that I recently started playing, and I am going to go through some pros and cons. And I'm creating this just to hopefully help any of you who are thinking about getting Icarus to help make your decision. It is a fantastic game, done well. There are a lot of ups and few downs, so I'm going to go through those in this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me or comment. It starts off with letting you customize your character. The customization is nothing crazy. It's something. It lets you do a little bit. There's the scars are pretty good. Other than that, it's not much to it, and honestly, not a big deal to me. It's sufficeable and it's good enough for a survival game. And there are three main roles of Icarus or modes. And there's missions, open world, and outpost. Missions is a limited time thing where you do missions and complete them. Open world is more the one I've been playing. Do missions still. Everything but the very first mission I think you can do, and it's open world at your own pace, whatever you want. There are 4 different maps. The first one, Olympus, is the only one that is not DLC. As you can see here, it lets you choose from 5 different spawn points. There's 2 in the grasslands, 2 in the desert, and 1 in the Arctic. Arctic, so far from my experience, is the hardest. Spawning in the wrong area can mess up your playthrough, and what I mean by that is there are 5 different spawn locations. There's 1 in the top left, 1 in the top right, 1 in the bottom right, 1 in the bottom left, and 1 in the center. The one in the center is the Arctic, and Arctic is by far going to be the hardest place to spawn, environment wise, hostile wise, and resource gathering wise. It is very barren. It is very difficult to survive in. You will die very fast over and over and over. And wherever you spawn is going to drop down a pod, and that is going to be the general area where you respawn when you don't have a bed. So if you go to the grasslands and want to set up a base there but die before you can, then you are going to respawn back in the Arctic. So be careful where you choose to spawn. My suggestion is the lower right. It's very peaceful there with just wolves. It's a lot like other open world survival crafting games, but this one, there's missions to it. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's hidden caves. There's normal caves. There's sandworms. There's bosses around the map. There's bosses in the contact device. All that great stuff. Some cons: no tutorial. That's only going to be a con to some of you. Some people are turned away by games when there's no tutorial and they have to sit there and learn everything on their own, which is completely understandable. It is a little bit overwhelming at first with the tech tree and the talent tree and the solo talent tree. If that's not your type of game, then I would suggest avoiding it and finding something else. They're not too hard to kill. They're not in abundance, so you can kind of do your own thing, go at your own pace, and build, craft, resource gather, learn the game, and it's very forgiving down there. Top left is more grasslands, but it is a lot more hostile, a lot more going on. The deserts are not too bad, but I would recommend not spawning there due to the environment, the storms. Resources are not too bad, but they're a little more spread out and not as dense as the grasslands. I do think that is the second hardest place to spawn is the deserts, as it's the second hardest environment to survive in and more spread out resources, just not as spread out as the Arctic. The DLC maps that you have to buy, and each of them are, I believe, $30. So they are a little pricey on the DLC side. It's not something you need to do, I feel like, and it's something that is optional. That does add some stuff. To start off, it is a lot like survival games where you kind of are just picking stuff up off the ground and getting your materials that way until you're able to craft stuff. It runs me a lot of Ark, Survival Evolved / Ascended. I have a lot of time in that, so that's going to be the game I would compare it to the most. Starting off is just picking stuff off the ground, and then the upgrade, the unlock path is pretty unique. I haven't played any games with the tech tree sense of unlocking stuff like that, at least that I can recall. So in my opinion, that's pretty unique, and it's not too bad. It is a little confusing and takes a little bit to get used to, but I do think that it works well once you get the hang of it. There is no tutorial in this game, and that is going to be a downside for a lot of you guys, which is fine, and I understand. I don't think it needs a tutorial. I think it's part of the fun and experience of learning this game and learning all of the stuff on your own. It did take me a little bit and help from some chatter tips, to help kind of figure things out as I went. And as you can see right here as well, there's a skill tree, or as they call it, a talent tree for your person. So there's the tech tree for unlocking craftables and everything that's going to be useful to you. And then the talent tree is for your character itself. And there's going to be stuff for your character, and there's going to be stuff, to help you as a player. Anything from increased resource yields from certain resources like trees, stones, ores, reducing capacity weight, increasing carrying weight, all that stuff like that. And I think it is pretty straightforward, and there's a lot that you can choose from to unlock. I'm not sure the max level, and I'm not sure if you're going to have enough to unlock everything in the talent tree, but my guess is not. It was a grind. I'm not going to lie. It was a grind, but I think it works well, and it was a fun grind. And I would say up to level 15 to 20 is kind of the area where it starts to pick up a little bit more level wise. You kind of learn what gives you good XP and what doesn't. And from there, it gets a little bit easier level wise, and it doesn't seem like it takes forever like it did in the beginning. And the crafting menu, everything that you can craft in your inventory will be in the list, and everything that you're actually able to craft within your inventory will be highlighted blue. So it kind of helps depict whether you can craft it or not. And there's search bars on everything, so you're not sitting there scrolling up and down trying to find something off just the image of it. There is no text overlays, so you kind of have to either remember what it looks like or just type it in every single time. But it is a pretty straightforward crafting system as well in the beginning. It does get a little bit more complex the further you go on, and we'll get to that in just a minute. And as you can see right here, there is a storm going on. This is just a simple rainstorm, but as far as I've experienced so far, there's rainstorms, windstorms, flash storms, which is like lightning and rain, and the desert, there's sandstorms, and in the snow, Arctic, there's blizzards. But the storms can be pretty intense, and if you're not properly equipped, they can and will destroy your base. They can and will get struck by lightning and catch on fire. And the fire physics in this game are absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. House is made of wood or thatch, and it gets struck by lightning, then it will catch fire, and the fire will absolutely spread to the rest of your base and destroy it all. No mercy if you are not prepared. In the beginning, you have to unlock the fire whacker, and that is something that stops the fire if you get to it early enough, and hopefully it doesn't spread. You can repair stuff, and it's pretty noticeable when stuff is damaged because it'll look like it's falling apart. It'll have pieces missing. There'll be rubble on the ground right next to it. I think it's a pretty cool design and very well done of how it's set up, and it actually works, especially with the wood. I'm still in the wood phase, just now getting into the stone phase after about 20 hours of gameplay. That goes with a lot of exploring and getting distracted, dying, running back to your stuff, or, getting a different animal and going back to your stuff. And the map is huge. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to get distracted by. There's caves. You can go spelunking, resource gathering, building, farming. Building is good. The crafting is good. There's a lot of different benches and stuff to help you craft different things. There's a lot of animals you can tame. There's a lot of animals you can ride. There's horses. There's the moas, which are like emus. There's buffalo you can ride. And then you can tame wolves, and you can tame boars. And I'm not sure what else you can tame because I'm not that far. But there's a lot to it and different way of taming them. And I think it is a nice assist in the game and helps you get around faster. There are also missions you can do. You have to make a contact device is what it's called, and then once you place it, you can kind of open up missions. And there's different types of missions. There's operations, there's boss fights. Unfortunately, boss fights are DLC. There's simple missions that are a lot more just like one thing at a time, while operations might have you do multiple things and maybe more complex things. You do get rewards for them, and you do go around the map for them. So stuff like that kind of help you advance a little bit more and get stuff you might not have or might not have access to yet. This is definitely a game that will keep most people interested while playing it if this is your type of game. If you don't like survival games, or you don't like crafting games, or you don't like games where you're going to have to go out and farm, or stuff like that, then this game is not going to be for you, and that's okay. You know, this game's not going to be for everyone, but if you are looking for a new survival game, if you are looking for something to kind of get lost in and have fun with, I do think this is the game for you. You can play with friends, you can play solo, you can play with randoms. You know, it's so many different ways to play it and so many different ways to do it. I think that it adds a lot of diversity to it, and I think they do it very well, and I think it makes it very fun. I've only played it solo so far. That's just kind of my preference as of right now, especially as I learn it. And if you guys want to try it out, it is free until the 27th of July. So 2 more days from the day this video is posted. And then it's also on sale for $6.99 when it's originally $34.99. So if you're even thinking about it, try it for the free weekend. For pros, it's a big world. It's a beautiful world. It looks great. Everything looks well done. It's well textured. It's well optimized. It runs well. I have no complaints over that. There's tameable mounts. There's rideable mounts. There's unrideable mounts you can tame. There's a lot of different variants of the mounts you can tame. They're easy building. Building works. Building's easy, but building straightforward. You gather resources, you craft, you build. It works as it's intended and shouldn't frustrate anyone, shouldn't be tedious to anyone. Many different routes to go, so you can unlock stuff in different ways, and then going at your own pace is a big thing. It's a lot like other open world survival crafting games, but this one, there's missions to it. There's a lot of stuff you can do. There's hidden caves, there's normal caves, there's sandworms, there's bosses around the map, there's bosses in the contact device, all that great stuff. Some cons: no tutorial. That's only going to be a con to some of you. Some people are turned away by games when there's no tutorial and they have to sit there and learn everything on their own, which is completely understandable. It is a little bit overwhelming at first with the tech tree and the talent tree and the solo talent tree. It can be a little bit confusing. If that's not your type of game, then I would suggest avoiding it and finding something else. Spawning in the wrong area can mess up your playthrough, and what I mean by that is there are 5 different spawn locations. There's one in the top left, one in the top right, one in the bottom right, one in the bottom left, and one in the center. The one in the center is the Arctic, and Arctic is by far going to be the hardest place to spawn, environment-wise, hostile-wise, and resource gathering-wise. It is very barren. It is very difficult to survive in. You will die very fast, over and over and over. And wherever you spawn is going to drop down a pod, and that is going to be the general area where you respawn when you don't have a bed. So if you go to the grasslands and want to set up a base there but die before you can, then you are going to respawn back in the Arctic. So be careful where you choose to spawn. And that is my overall list of pros and cons for Icarus, and I highly recommend to any survival crafting enjoyer out there, and to those of you who just like a good game to get lost in with lots to do. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.